they have required job training, that it's open and that it's in person for them to do it. People who are even going to their jobs instead of being in a home alone or home with family members that may or may not be a good environment for them. Getting back to normal and back to work, we know will help with all manners of making our communities safer. So what is important, however, is just like the chief said, that he's going to do all in his power. This government is going to do all in its power. We're going to reach out to get, even expand our resources. But we need everybody in the system, and that includes the community, to be thinking the exact same way. We will get safer together. We do have, and we are really lucky in our city to have a lot of resources to bring to bear. I know that Linda and her counterparts speak often, but we're able to have subsidized employment for people who come forward. We're able, if a community member calls and can make us aware of an illegal gun, to offer a huge reward. It's important. Now, the chief went over all of the guns that were collected in the city, and I see something else when I see that chart. What I see is sometimes when the number is higher in a community, that means the community is doing a lot. That means a commander is doing a lot to remove guns. Sometimes when is lower, it doesn't necessarily mean that there are fewer guns. So we want to see in every part of the city people making us aware of illegal guns. And we also, I can't just emphasize enough, all of the resources. If you come forward and you're willing to make a change, we can help you make that change. So, long answer to your question, there's no one thing that has anywhere in the nation. I don't think anybody is pointing to one reason, but there are a lot of complex reasons that we're seeing increased violence in our country. Thank you. Yes.
Chief, back to the Van Ness Street shootings.
Please introduce yourself, sir.
Hi, Matthew Torres with WSA 9.
Thank you.
You mentioned the camera set up out in the hallway. Can you elaborate more on that? Was this his personal camera? How long has it been there? And was there monitors in his room that you can see the hallway if officers are coming?
Yeah, so he had a camera. It was on the floor outside of the apartment. We think it was recently put there based upon some of the interviews that we've done. It was recently placed there, and it was absolutely for the purposes of seeing law enforcement as we progress down the hallway. I think there was a post or something that he made out there. They're looking in the wrong part. So again, just really trying to put all the pieces together. Inside of his bathroom, where he ultimately ended his life, he had like a little command center set up in there. He had a laptop computer. He had a cell phone in the bathtub. He had like a pillow and some blankets, and he had a long gun as well as a firearm in there. So he was essentially, kind of, doing everything that he was doing from the confinement of the bathroom of his apartment.
Chief, I know you said you can't rule out whether or not the school was in fact
Yes.
targeted. Knowing that the victims were on school property, can you say if this was a school shooting? Would you just categorize it as that?
I mean, it occurred. I mean, at a school. I mean, I don't. And that's the second time someone has asked that question. I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to split hairs about. I mean, it happened at a school, right? I mean, people there. The former officer who was there, he worked at the school. Some people were coming to pick up kids were from the school. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. I mean, the school was certainly in his line of sight. I mean, we want to be definitive about why he did what he did, but I think it's a safe bet to say that he did what he did for whatever reason he had, and the school was certainly within his crosshairs.
Okay. Has anybody not asked a question that wants to ask a question? Okay. 1, 2, 3, and then we'll finish there. Mark?
Yes, two questions, one for you, Mayor, but first for the chief and for the special agent from the Secret Service. Can you update us on the Peruvian shooting investigation? And for the special agent, can you tell us if your officers were actually injured? We were told by the chief they were taken to the hospital. Your press release said they were charged by the man, but can you tell us, were they actually injured, what their condition is?
Chief?
Yeah, sure, go ahead, man.
So they were taken to local area hospitals for evaluation, which I think the chief can attest is standard protocol there. So.
They were not injured?
No.
No, okay. And then, so, Chief, what can you tell us about your team is investigating this?
Yeah.
What was the need that you've seen so far for lethal force? We're told this man had a pole. We don't know how long or how big or how violent he was acting.
Thank you, Mark. It was a metal stake like a tiki torch, like with a sharp edge on the end of it. And as we understand it, he was making jabbing motions at the officers. I think as part of the press release and what we learned in the early part of the investigation, they initially deployed their ECD, their taser, but that taser didn't stop the threat, and apparently, at least where we are right now in an investigation, at the time of the shooting, that's what was going on with this guy threatening this metal pole. I mean, I don't want to be stabbed with a metal pole. I don't think anybody else does either. And certainly these officers in this situation, that was the reason for the shooting. So we'll continue to work through it. Again, we interviewed the family members, the staff from the ambassador's residence, interviewed them about what they saw, all part of their witness statements and so forth, and all of that will be included in the final investigation. And we're obviously not at the point where we can make a final conclusion about the investigation, but based upon the reports that we've received so far, that's essentially what we got.
Is there video of the incident?
There is not. There is no video of the incident. The officers were not wearing body-worn cameras, and there are no cameras at the residence that capture the location in the backyard.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate that update. And Mayor Bowser, off topic for you, there was an incident in Chevy Chase, Maryland, over the weekend where some affordable housing advocates were protesting at the site of a proposed new library. And it's been reported that the residents there who were in opposition to affordable housing made comments, one of which was they don't want Chevy Chase becoming Anacostia. And I'm wondering if you can react to hearing that from your neighbors from Montgomery County.
Well, that's not all my neighbors in Montgomery County. Okay, so I don't think it. Look, Mark, I've been in a lot of conversations where a NIMBY attitude is one or a few of many voices, and I know when people how people react when we in the government want to build more housing. I, for one, have advocated that Montgomery County, and I'm the D.C. mayor, I live in D.C., I pay taxes in D.C., but I think Montgomery County needs more affordable housing too. And so I'll leave it at that. But I would not characterize that as the predominant view in the county. Yep.
Mayor, I'd like to ask you your response to what Charles Allen gave as a response to the police funding sort of debate at the council now. Charles Allen says that you're raising this supposed conflict over money he cut for proposed incentives that were about a squad car, a take-home squad car for MPD officers. You, of course, came out very forcefully against what his committee did. Is this an issue about a squad car? Is there more here from your point of view?
Yes, it was more, and you've heard me talk, and I won't have this debate reduced to kind of a squabble among a council member, and it's more than that. We've just been talking about safety, and my job is to tell D.C. residents and the D.C. council what the police chief needs. And after 2 years of not being able to hire, we have to replenish our force. We have to. And so it's not enough for the council to say, you can hire 347 officers, but I'm going to take away the incentives that you need to compete. no offense to these fine gentlemen, with all of these people who are also hiring. Okay, so we have to have a competitive incentives package. So my statement is a long-standing one since I proposed the budget and over the last 2 budget cycles is we need the police that we need and we need to be in a position to hire the best of the best. It is not going to get us there to chip away at the package. It has to move together. It's a $30 million package, and it has to move together. And more than that, I was talking to some school leaders who represent our administrative officials, principals and vice principals. They're horrified at the thought, especially now, to remove trusted police officers from school buildings. So there are some policy differences. We have some budgetary differences with what the committee did, but the entire council has the ability to move the whole package, and we hope that they do that.
I think we'd like to, understand though, like there's 20,000 in for a sign-on bonus. The committee says it's advanced. Other tripling or doubling other incentives. I mean, what was lost?
$6 million was cut. So we advanced a $30 million package. I don't have the list in front of me, but $6 million was cut. So 2 of that 6 related to take-home vehicles, which you may poo-poo as not important, but the people who actually are out there recruiting police officers, one of the top things that an officer says that he or she will choose which department he or she goes to is the ability to have a take-home vehicle. The other thing, it has an added benefit, neighbors like it. They like to see the police car for visibility parked in their community. So that's a $2 million. And then we have education incentives and housing incentives that were reduced as well. And let me just say a little bit about the education incentives, because they're really aimed at our mid-career officer. This is not for new recruits. This is for retention. And part of our proposal is not only that we're able to hire 347, but that we're able to keep up to 300. And that is how we get our force back. And so this is a retention package as well, which we have been cut by. So it is $6 million cut from our $30 million proposal that is aimed at us hiring 347 and keeping 300. Thank you, everybody. The chief and team, MPD team, can show you what they've been able to recover.